Hello.
Hello. We'll get started in just a minute.
Paul, you're on mute, I think.
I can hear you, Paul.
Jennifer, I think you are too.
No, you're
See you guys,
not.
but I can't hear you. I can't hear anybody.
I think you need to turn your volume up. Hello. Get started in just a minute.
Paul, you're on mute, I think.
I can hear you, Paul.
Yes. Tatiana,
You're the one.
what is it?
You're
Hello?
No, I was going to text Shane.
Um, Is there a way to write a little note to the group that make sure you turn your volume up on your computer?
I don't get that. Can you hear me, Tatiana? Okay, all right. So that's funny. I can hear you, but you can hear me, but I can't hear Tatiana. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
I'm
Yeah.
not on mute.
You're the one
There's
who's,
nothing there.
yeah.
So
it's-
is it
that's
is it
on-
mine? Is it mine?
Yes,
Okay, so what
All
maybe what I'll
you.
try to do, Tatiana, can you put your phone on and I'll follow by the phone?
no,
What's weird? Let me see if there's something I can do here.
Is it a- that
How
was
do
a way to write
I
a-
leave and check back in again?
Is he the first applicant? I hope not. All right. Just give me a minute to pull up the agenda.
Hi, Kai. Hi, LaJoyce.
And so what am I, chopped liver?
Good evening, y'all.
Hello.
Hi, Tika. Who's EM?
So I'm gonna kill that one.
Guess we'll find out. No HDLC today?
Did somebody remind her? She might be on vacation.
Let me stick my head over there.
I think I'm connected.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. There we go.
Yay.
All right. Sorry about those difficulties there. I wish I could explain how that happened, but
Which comes it over here?
here we go.
I don't really care on my camera. Oh, you mean to watch your computer?
Yeah, because it's on here.
So,
Well, you can hear.
yeah, but what happened to the big screen?
I don't know how to say
Okay,
it.
Tracy is going to be joining in a sec. All right, so this is the October 20th, 2021 Planning Advisory Committee. This is a committee that provides technical advice to the Department of Property Management and the City Planning Commission. And I will now call roll of the members. City Planning Commission, here represented by myself, Paul Kramer, also acting as chair of the committee. The Department of Property Management, I see Jennifer Kretschmann.
Ava Monet is also
And
So-
Ava
Hi.
in management.
CPC, Real Estate and Records, Parks and Parkways,
Yep.
HDLC. Tracy's still connecting the audio, so we'll give her a second. Sewage and Water Board,
Here.
Department of Public Works,
Here.
and we have Kai today, okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you. And Tracy, can you hear us, Tracy? I think that was all of the members. I'm sure Tracy will be able to join in just a second. And we will get started with the first item. First, I'm going to share my, well, I'll just read the items and then I'll pull up the attachments. The first item is a reconsideration. It's a request by North Robertson Artist Studio for the potential sale or long-term lease of a portion of North Robertson Street between St. Ferdinand and Press Street, unconstructed, the railroad, the Great Alabama Southern Railroad, Norfolk Southern, in the 3rd Municipal District, previously on the agenda of PAC for March 4th, 20, and another date more recently. And so now I will pull up attachment. We have one attachment for that.
While you're pulling that up, Paul, why don't I just kind of get started with an update on the reconsideration? Those of you that were here for the first time around might recall that one of the things we discussed with the potential long-term use of North Robertson and or sale of North Robertson as is being requested, we were concerned that that would inhibit access of DOTD to conduct repairs to the overpass and also to access its, the area under the overpass, which is under DOTD's jurisdiction, as well as evidently what I'm going to call the riverside of North Robertson, being also under the DOTD's jurisdiction. So we have had since the last PAC meeting, we have met with DOTD and they are very interested in getting this particular location maybe secured compared to some of the problems that they've been dealing with. And they are working through a joint use agreement process for the area that is DOTD controlled. So what had been discussed, was possibly that we could line up some kind of long-term lease agreement on the city portion that would be sort of coterminous with whatever agreement was confected with the DOTD. However, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to the North Robertson Artist Studio team, because I think what I heard from you in our last email was that, you know, still for whatever reason, a long-term lease wasn't going to work on your side, or are you still seeking a disposition? Because I think the last email that I got from you seemed to indicate that you still wanted to pursue the potential acquisition of the land. But it kind of doesn't really solve that problem, you know, publicly for us of maintaining access to the overpass for repairs. So,
Tatiana, do you want to respond to that, or should I?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Hello, thank you for, you know, allowing us to speak to you all today. It's a pleasure to be here and explain some about our project. As you are aware, you know, we're working on both sides of the bridge. And so we have the Square City block on the Villere side, Riverside, where we're developing a artist's installation park. And then to the left of the bridge, as you're looking at it vertically here from the vertical rendering, we have the city block that is entirely composed of artist studios. So, you know, at this point, we have 75 studios open and in operation, between 100 and 150 artists working in there, and undertaken some planning, both architectural and engineering, for the Orlinia project, the installation project, while we complete or, you know, investigate our zoning obligations and our funding for, you know, the Orlinia adventure on the other side of the bridge. So essentially what I'm saying is that we're developing a project that's on both sides of the bridge. And we are also invested, as I hope you've seen in our prospectus that we sent over, in the neighborhood very broadly. The objectives of our group and our foundation is to create an arts corridor in this somewhat forgotten neighborhood. So our objective is to create a safe and affordable place for artists to live and work. So we've undertaken the studio project, and we're in the midst of design and development of artist housing, as the prospectus points out. All of that within this corridor, within mere steps of this spot. So when I acquired the brewery, the Ancient Union Brewery, it had been for sale for 12 years, and the lot next to it had lied abandoned. And so it had much of the neighborhood, and still remains to be abandoned and in a difficult shape. To kind of cut to the quick, when we were completely open at the artist studio spot, we occupied by way of parking, you know, inadvertently it became a parking spot, and the street was pretty active, and there was a lot less crime. Right now, and for some period of time, it's been a magnet for vagrancy, drug abuse, sex trafficking. There have been several murders and numerous robberies. We sustain an ongoing assault by a criminal population that lives under that bridge and next to it. And so we worked for a long time with the city and also with the police department. We actually pay for police details to routinely control the life under the bridge and habitation. And it's just been a very difficult thing to control. And it's a deterrent for the vitality of our project. So what we're seeking to do, I think most ideally, is to actually buy the piece of land that's between St. Ferdinand Street and Press, and unite the project as a walking space and a space that would be used for parking, for exhibitions, for events, something that facilitates the life between the two sides of the project and curtails the inhabitation, you know, because it's been an ongoing cycle of the city clearing it out and then it becoming re-inhabited. You know, as I've suggested, it's been a real kind of a nightmare controlling that zone for everyone, and we've resorted to paying for details. So, you know, just, I know I'm going on, and I'd be glad to answer pointed questions, but we're in the middle of probably a 10 or 15 year program to develop the neighborhood. We're planning on spending in excess of $25 million on this development at this point. And, you know, we would love to have the city's cooperation in the sale of this piece of property, which we're more than happy to write in complete 24-hour access to any kind of utilities that would need repair. And the state has indicated an interest and an acceptance of our proposition for their access at 24 hours. That was one of the very first things that we negotiated. So the state will have access 24 hours a day on a controlled block off of St. Ferdinand. You know, we're fine with that. They made that stipulation right off the bat, and we said, great, no problem at all. Just as a final note before I give it over to Tatiana or back to the group, that lot was closed off for, I'm imagining, close to 20 years. We reopened it. It had been closed. I don't know if it was legally sanctioned closed, but all of the hardware, gates, et cetera, are remaining, those that have not been stolen. So, you know, there's a lot of crime there, as I said. The gates had been stolen, but the posts and original hardware for that is still visible from an aerial view. I think someone from the city verified that. In addition, the entire lighting on both of the bridges on North Robertson and Claiborne has been stolen, as has been the electrical work from T-Mobile, Verizon, and one other electrical company in that area, in addition to us fighting a constant battle from them stealing our gutters, our window guards, bicycles, cars, et cetera. So, you know, we're like in a, you know, just an ongoing, it never stops. So that,
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. You know, we do have a packed agenda today, and so we're going to have to kind of move along. This is a technical committee that is looking at the question of what kind of transaction, you know, would be feasible from a technical perspective in terms of the presence of infrastructure, the presence of the overpass. So we've kind of got to get into those technical issues. We do understand, you know, that background is very helpful to understanding why we need to try to find a solution here. But I think we need to kind of move on to those specific technical questions, but just because we have a long agenda today. Tatiana, did you have something else that you wanted to add?
No, we're just here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, so Paul, I'll kick it back to you as the chairperson.
Sure. So, well, let's start with the survey. On the survey up on the screen, what does the area that is with the hash marks represent?
Pardon, there's nothing up on the screen. We're seeing somebody's computer screen.
Are you just saying blue beam? Let me see.
There.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, now you can see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Right. That's weird. Okay. So the area that is the hash marked, what does that
Yes.
represent?
I believe
That
the area
represents
that's
the state property.
That's the DOTD JUA area.
Yeah, and we are in advanced negotiations with them. I expect that we will be finalizing those negotiations for a complete rental with a guaranteed access for maintenance, as I said, off of St. Ferdinand.
So we're only talking about the part of North Robertson that is not within that.
That's
correct.
Okay. And on square 650, you own the entirety of the properties that are along that,
Yes, that's correct.
and same for 608.
That's correct.
Do we have any
Oh.
comments from Public Works or Sewage and Water Board?
So 650, what did y'all say about 650? I'm sorry. Square number 650?
I just asked if they owned all the properties that are along that side of Square 650. And they do.
Okay. Now,
Paul,
where, um, where's the sewer and the water, connections? Do y'all know, since you said that y'all own everything?
Yeah, there are several sewers along the street, but right in the middle of 650, basically.
Okay.
I've got a quick question on the next
I can
piece.
verify that for you later, but I will verify that. That is my sense of it. I could be wrong. As I recollect, the entrance for the sprinkler system for 650 is right there in the middle of the block. So I might be misinterpreting that. I don't want to mislead you on that. So I will find out where the sewers are and where the water control is.
Did you have a follow-up, LaJoyce?
Yes, that's the property line on this survey on the North Villere side.
Yes.
Okay, so you're showing, I guess from the property line to the edge of the curb is like 54 feet. So the sewer is about 55 feet, but it's a little bit outside of the curb, and it didn't show any of the utilities on the survey. So that would put the area that's in consideration within right close, well, I say 55 feet from the sewer. It might be plus or minus feet. So that would be encroaching on the sewer. So, a sale, Sewage and Water Board would have to reject that because in order for the maintenance on the sewer, we won't have any room on the inside part for any maintenance work to be done on the sewer. And there's water too in the street. So the water is a little bit more north of the sewer. So that there still probably wouldn't be maybe enough room for maintenance purposes.
What you would reject a sale even with if there was a servitude?
Well, a sale with a servitude. So the servitude will be underneath part of the bridge.
I see what you're saying.
In either case, we would be able to guarantee you complete access. As the leaseholder or as the owner of the property, we would be willing to sign a servitude that would give you the same access you would have in any case.
But if it's private, Sewage and Water Board won't do any maintenance work, so or any repairs if it's private.
Because it doesn't go beyond that to serve anything else. That's sort of the idea.
No, it does not. It's the end of the block. I mean, we're everything down that way.
But LaJoyce, what about a lease?
A lease with a servitude, or
Not
just
just a lease, I guess.
a lease with no permanent structures?
It doesn't sound like they want permanent structures.
Oh, they do?
They do not. They do not, right?
No, we would not in either case, either with a purchase or with a lease, build any permanent structures that would inhibit maintenance of the utilities. In either case. So either way we go, we're going to give complete access to the city to maintain the, whatever drains and water control. Unless we would, if we purchase it, we would assume control of that. If that's so, we'll be happy to do that.
I did see where one of those buildings does have a connection on that water line. So as far as maintenance work, if it becomes private, Sewage and Water won't maintain anything that's private. So that's
Yes.
something to keep in consideration.
Well, we would be willing to do that. As I recollect, I think we did have a rather large payment to make to the city regarding that in any case. Or maybe that was an adjustment to our water rate, I'm not sure. You remember, Tatiana, you remember that big change?
Yeah, there was a big change because the size of the connection, I guess. What's going from the water, from the city to the building is a huge connection, even though what comes from our building is much smaller. But yes, they adjusted the rate extensively.
So would this be fenced off or anything?
I'm sorry, I didn't
Pardon?
understand. the
No, I'm
question.
saying, would this be fenced off? Because if it's fenced off, how would there be access to maintain like the utilities?
With a code.
I
with a
mean, if
gate.
it's an emergency repair,
With a gate code or with a gate key. That's
an emergency,
Okay,
or, that's what I'm
With
saying,
this-
emergency repair, how would, I was just thinking about access to it.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
we could make a requirement of full ingress and egress.
Yes.
I mean, there's probably a significant benefit to both the city and the DOTD to get this area secured. There's been a lot of problems with illegal dumping and fires. So I think we can work out a structure in the agreement that would give Sewage and Water Board full ingress and egress.
Yeah, we would give 24 hours, anytime access, no restrictions at all, as far as we're concerned.
Tika's had her hand up for a while.
Just wait my time. You done?
Let's hear
for-
from Tika.
Yeah, I just quick question down on, I don't know if it's page 3 because I can't scroll down. It has 104 feet of that lower bridge section. Is that stop at the property line of that one property that has access to St. Ferdinand? The reason I'm asking is because there's 2 lots right there that don't appear to have any other means of ingress or egress. And under that, not that they much have one now, but is it all the way to the end of that lower section of unfenced,
I can speak to that.
Good, thank you.
Yes, I can speak to that. This was kind of a land grab on our part. It's not essential to what we're requesting. What's most important to us is the part that borders our properties and the DOTD's property. That other section is an area that is currently under a lot of, there's like a black market going on there right now, the buying and selling of metal and bicycles, as well as prostitution. So we would love to have it fenced off. But you're right, there are 2 lots. There is essentially no egress to those 2 lots. We've brought it to the city's attention a couple times because they're dead zones. There used to be a street that ran across there, but the overpass has since blocked the egress. So there's 2 keyhole lots that are entirely blocked. And so, if we don't own the property bordering that area. So if we can't get it, that's fine. We'd still like to move forward with the area in the 2800 block. But if we could have the rights to secure that, we'd love to use it for parking with a fence.
So I just want to clarify something quickly, Tika. That's sort of DOTD's issue. For our purposes today, we are only considering between St. Ferdinand and Press that second survey and that issue of the landlocked lots is something that they are working through with DOTD. It's not, you're right, but I don't think we have to decide that today.
Fine. I just, was looking at it and I just
it
wasn't
was-
sure. And I have no problems with it conceptually, except for, the ingress and egress and, and about how much of that whole area that, because it, it's a diminishing, because of the slope.
Right.
Correct.
So it was just a question. Thanks.
Yeah, you're right, but I don't think we have to resolve that today in this meeting. DOTD is going to need to work through that.
Correct.
All right.
Louis and Kai, do you have any comments on the?
I was just going to call on myself.
When we were talking, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. When we were talking about before, yeah, was, we didn't want to orphan that section. It looks like DOTD has it to that side if they're willing to sell it. Then, at a staff level at least, we'd be okay with that piece.
Let me just clarify.
DOTD
DOTD isn't selling, they're entering into a JUA. So, that's why I'm not sure that they are really expressing consent for a sale here. I think that the long-term lease that would line up with the JUA is probably more appropriate, just because the access for the overpass. Don't you agree, Louis?
Yeah, I agree. I think whatever we do should line up with their agreement.
And so, Jennifer, does the city does not own sort of the right of way along Square 608 that is owned by the state?
Yes.
Okay, because the Square 608 is many different lots right now, I guess under common ownership. So as long as that.
This is LaJoyce. Is 608 along where the fence is? The North Villery side?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, it's where the fence with the, okay, different colors.
Correct.
Okay.
On the art installation Square 608, would it be conducive to your plans? And I'm not saying this is a definitive, but if there was a requirement, if we went with the sale route, and there was a requirement that you re-subdivide those into one lot, would that be all right with you all?
Prospectively, yeah, I would say. Yeah, I don't think there's a material difference. Most of the current orientation is just due to the nature of the acquisition as a step-by-step process. And, it's unitized as far as the project's concerned, but, legally speaking, it is, numerous parcels, as you said. So I don't think it would impact us at all. We're not using it as if those designations were useful in any way. We're, kind of overlooking them.
But if we go the lease route, I don't think that there would be any need to require that. So, lease might be in your best interest too.
I think we had to if my recollection is correct, when we were talking to a different group in planning, they were telling us that we needed to re-subdivide it in a minimum of two lots. They were saying we couldn't do what we were thinking of doing, going across a bunch of lots. It needed to be combined anyway.
For what you are, I see what you mean, and to develop the art. installation.
Develop the art installation.
Gotcha,
They were
right.
saying,
That
if
makes
we
sense.
wanted to put a structure here, it can't go across two lots.
Correct.
you know?
Okay, probably safety and permits you were talking. to.
Yes, I think
Okay,
so.
gotcha.
Yeah, we are planning on putting an exhibition building in there, among other structures. So, yeah, we did run up against that.
All right, does anyone else have any questions or comments before we move on to the next item?
So what's the final?
Well, we're gonna go through all the items, then take the recess and come back and vote on this one.
Okay.
Because it is considering a sale,
Okay.
so we will vote.
All righty.
All right, so then we're gonna move on to the next item.
Can I, Paul, just say one thing to finish up? Just to, leave it with, our preference is toward a sale. And the reason is that we're spending an enormous amount of time and money here. We already pay over $1,000 a week in taxes. And we have a chaotic situation that we're constantly in a defensive mode about. I'm not faulting the city, and I know that it exists all around the city. We're not the only ones dealing with it. But, it's a battle even just to stay in the project. And so we would consider this, a vote of support for like what we're doing, and it gives us a measure of greater security. It's not like it makes it impossible for us to do our job if we're in a long-term lease that is considerate and favorable. But, there's a degree of certainty that is assuring to the many people that contribute to our foundation work and the work that we do. So in any case, we're available for any further questions or probes that you would feel necessary. Please, call us and let us know. We'll be glad to come and meet with you.
Sure, and you're welcome to stay on the meeting until we get through everything else and get to our voting session, in case there are any more
Okay.
probes.
All right, thank you.
All right, so next item is number 2 on the agenda, consideration of request by Sharif Sakla for the potential sale or long-term lease of a portion of Calapissa Street that runs from Burdett Street to Fern Street, located in the 7th Municipal District, Square 463, adjacent to municipal address 7818 Earhart. I've got one attachment to pull up. Do you all see the screen? Something on the screen? I have to share a screen. There we go. How about now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Is Mr. Sakla on the line?
Mr. Sakla isn't here, but my name is Erica Enline. I'm just in attendance on his behalf. He couldn't make it today. So I'll try to answer any questions as best I can, but.
Well, I will try to recall what he and I had talked about, but maybe you can jump in and provide a short description. Mr. Sakla owns the area outlined in yellow there, which fronts on Earhart. The rear portion of Calypso Street here is evidently in poor condition, and he would like to make some improvements in order to facilitate more diagonal parking, which is practically ongoing. And this is his request, that he be able to either acquire or long-term lease of a 2,000 square foot portion in the rear of his building for this purpose. However, I'm really not doing justice to what some of the ongoing issues have been in terms of the streetscape. So I'll let you talk about that, Erica.
I know that he's mentioned it's used for garbage piles up there, and I think he's mentioned that there have been some vehicles there that have been left there. So I think he really just wants to utilize the area in a way that kind of prevents misuse of the area, and parking would be, I think it's needed. I think he's looking for extra parking, and I think he thinks it would be a good way to prevent the misuse of the space, essentially.
Is the property he owns being used as a restaurant?
What is it used as? I think that it's, I believe it's a restaurant. There might also be, this might also be where there's a school building there possibly. Let me see if I can pull up. I don't think I have very much information readily available for this, but
Okay, well, while she looks for that, Kai and Louis, do you have you had an opportunity to take a look at what's going on here? And have any ideas?
I'll chime in. Is that a sidewalk that they're trying to acquire? When I looked at it on Google, it looks like it's a pretty new sidewalk, I think.
I'm not sure. I haven't been to the property myself.
Okay.
I basically have access to the same documents that you guys have.
The aerial view looks like there's a sidewalk.
Yeah. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, you have a sidewalk on, I mean, there's a sidewalk. We don't grant leases for parking on public sidewalks. As far as I know, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and that there's.
I mean, we don't, but I think I guess I didn't realize there was a built-out sidewalk. I was under the impression that this area was very unconstructed. If that's not the case, then, I'm happy to withdraw it and move on.
Looks like there's a pretty good amount of space that comes after the sidewalk where you could like keep the sidewalk there without touching the sidewalk. Because I pulled up a couple of pictures that show the cars that are parked there, and there are cars parked diagonally on the kind of gravel area between the street and the sidewalk, and it doesn't look like they're on the sidewalk itself.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get around you can't get around like parking against code by leasing the area that you're doing the illegal parking, that you're doing the parking that's contrary to the code. I mean, there's
Well,
a pretty
is there a
obvious
way that we
sidewalk
can,
there.
is there a way that we can alert somebody to try to remove these abandoned vehicles and start enforcing the parking requirements in this area to clean it up?
I mean, I would have thought that there was some enforcement, and that's the reason why they're asking for the lease. I don't know what's going on. You
Well,
know, it's,
unfortunately,
Jen,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
You
I
go.
was going to say it's under DPW's purview to to have towing and ticketing. And I think there are other alternatives to prevent parking, such as bollards. I think it's 18 inches back of the face of curb, Lewis. They could put in bollards that would, prevent parking and maintain the sidewalk. And they could plant trees. Not that I want my trees used as a bollard, but some combination of things to deal with what is the purported issue if it's not just parking. If
doesn't
it's
sound
not
like
just
the issue is that people are parking on the sidewalks. It sounds like the desire is to allow people to park on the sidewalks.
So I-
well, I mean, just not
Isn't
going.
that what they're asking for?
Well, I don't want to speak for them, but yes.
I have the email pulled up.
I mean, if all right, so there is a process for real angle parking by code. You find the arrangement that allows you to park the cars at an angle. You basically can request this from the council member. They'll ask us to do a study. And then you just formalize that. There's no need for a lease or anything. If it can be done while maintaining a sidewalk, it can be done. But, we're not going to close the sidewalk behind a business to allow a little more parking on the street. Marginally more parking than is already available. We just don't do that.
Louis, I just got to come to the defense of the applicant here for a second. I don't think the thought was like, hey, I'm going to, the thought was DPW isn't doing anything. Can I do something? Because I'm dealing with these abandoned cars and illegal dumping all the time. Like, can I do something that's going to make it less desirable for that? I think is what he would say was his intent in making this request. But I'm happy to shuffle him off to the council member if that's what you're suggesting.
I just want to confirm.
Well, I mean, if it's his idea that he wants to like pave the area and stripe it to kind of just formalize it.
His words, and I'm pulling this from an email, his words are, as you can see, the area between the street line and the back of our property is pretty much used as a junkyard for broken vehicles. Our desire is to lease from the city and improve that area by creating a designated parking space as outlined by the two diagrams also attached, which is what we're looking at. So it comes from a desire for the area to not be misused, not necessarily,
Okay.
The motivation isn't necessarily just to get more parking.
Okay, I mean, that's doable. I mean, you can pave that area basically and designated angle parking through ordinance by adding it to the angle parking schedule. That's how that would work.
Is the thought that if he owned it, he would be able to tow the cars himself if they are abandoned?
I don't understand why they can't report it to towing control with DPW and get the cars towed if that's the issue. Also, sanitation picks up regularly for any dumping and debris. And once again, not to encourage paving of our green spaces, but if you're concerned about parking, and just getting vehicles to move, bollards and trees will do something very similar.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you could you could landscape a section of that,
and get DPW's parking control and sanitation to do the the towing of abandoned vehicles, et
I
cetera.
think part of the idea is that
Yeah,
if it was
absolutely.
designated parking, it might deter people from abandoning their vehicles there. And then also regarding the bollards and the trees, would that be, this might just be me not being well informed, but would we be able to implement that, or would that be, would we need permission from elsewhere to put something in place so that cars can't just be parked and left there as your alternative ideas?
The bollards would be Lewis. And I'm suggesting trees since I think it would be nice. You wouldn't have to do them, and that would be me. And that permit would be free.
I wouldn't install bollards, but they could ask for permission from us to install bollards.
You would not give them permission to install bollards, Lewis?
I would not install the bollards, but I could give permission to install bollards.
I'm so sorry.
It's you know what I'm saying.
No, I don't.
I mean, I can
Because
get
I couldn't hear
permission
you
to
and
install
my ears.
bollards. I can't install the bollards myself.
DPW is not going to install the bollards, but
But you would permit
allow that.
bollards.
Yes, that's correct.
Would not install.
And then finally, you can ask them, you know, I see a truck in the picture. Maybe they get deliveries back here. You know, I can install like a, you know, I could look at installing a freight zone between the two, between those two telephone poles. And, you know, that might ward off some people.
Okay, and I just have one more follow-up question. You had mentioned that it's a possibility to pave and paint for angled parking. Is that still the case if we have the sidewalk there? Or did I misunderstand?
It's a question of there being enough space, you know, we'd have to look at it, but, you know, if they could pave it or, you know, mix of paving and landscaping or something. But they could basically pave it, you know, add in wheel stops or whatever you would need to keep the sidewalk clear. But then you'd have your angle parking, but you would have to keep you'd still have to keep the sidewalk clear. So it'd be a matter of, can they do it? You know, we'd have to look at the space. I don't know if there's really enough space that we can do it, but maybe.
Do you know off the top of your head how much space is required?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
We would just have to look. We'd have to look at it. I mean, they would. Yeah, we'd have to look at it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so
Normally, I mean, it wouldn't be. Normally, we can do it on the street this wide. You know, so I wouldn't say it's out of the question. You know.
Okay, so I should report back that we should be in contact with.
Department of Public Works.
Okay. Anybody else I should be reaching out to in as an alternative, or?
Councilmember Banks, we can, if you have Mr. Sokla, give me a call. We can try to set something up with his office.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have a few options, but you know, we can. Certainly, the first thing to do is get parking enforcement on it, so they could certainly tow those cars. I mean, we tow cars to the lot every day.
Yeah, I'll have to ask if that, I'm not sure what the issue is with that existing, but okay.
Tika, do you have one more comment or question?
Nope. They only need to talk to me if they want to plant trees.
All right, your little hand's still up.
No, my hand's been down a while.
And this is LaJoyce from Sewage and Water Board. So the width is 16 feet wide, they're proposing from the property line?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work based on what we've been talking about. So you know, if it matters, I'm gonna withdraw the item and we're gonna go pursue these other potential solutions.
Okay.
A lot of people get off here, huh?
Did we lose Paul?
That's why your pant leg's pulled up.
Go get him, Tracy.
Erica, thank you. I'm sorry we were putting you on the spot.
No, that's okay. Thanks for answering my questions. And I'm sorry I didn't have more information at the ready for you guys. But I appreciate the guidance and I'll bring these.
Yeah, no, I think we were just trying to explore what options might be available. So.
Yep, no worries. I will report back. Thanks for your help.
Oh dear, it seems like we lost our chairperson.
He's trying to get back in.
There he is.
There he is.
Fuck. Fuck. Man.
get to restart my computer.
Ugh.
Everybody.
You want to?
Hey, everybody, I think I have to restart my computer. So if we lose the connection, just click on the Zoom link again in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there's a gentleman there. We're muted. Oh, no, he's muted.
Unmuted. That's him.
Yeah.
That's him muted. No, that's Haywood. Hartman is,
There's like 8 people in this thing.
the rest of them, they don't have their screens on.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
So they're all
screens
just.
on. Yeah, don't got their screens on.
All right.
Erica Inland is muted.
Yeah, so, but this is the microphone, because there's already a chair.
They hit the sound from the computer.
Yeah.
That's why they're placing the city. Are you chicken?
He's a vegetarian.
Yeah, this one's some beans.
The ribs are good.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of it. I don't know.
See, after the fire, we were staying, extended stay hotel on Elmwood. Popeye was like right around the corner, I lived in Popeye. And especially at the height of COVID, because couldn't go nowhere up
On the one right there, by Jefferson's Parish Government.
yeah. Kept it on, I just kind of walk out the hotel and see the line at, and just run over there, you know?
Okay.
I can go get my computer upstairs and watch it.
Yes, that was not muted.
All right, can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, now for some reason my video isn't working. Fun never stops.
I can end this one, yeah.
All right, yeah, that's fine.
All right. Did we finish with item number 2?
Yes.
Okay. So we go on to item number 3. A request by Richard Gierken, adjacent property owner, for the sale of a portion of ground designated as lot.
Yeah, just, no, they can. I'm looking at it here.
You should get out of the zone, baby.
Hey, guys in the conference room, you're not on mute.
I think we lost Paul again.
Oh,
No,
No.
you're still there?
I hear you,
Okay, good.
but my video is not working.
Yeah. Can you give me the right to share a screen or?
Let me, I'm getting a little,
Here you
little circle.
go. Yeah, okay.
Crazy.
Just one of those days, Paul, when
I don't know, I can't even make you the co-host or change host to you. Maybe if I might have to close out and join again. And then my first action will be to make you the host, Jennifer.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, let's try that.
So while we're waiting for Paul, if anybody's trying to pull this up on Property Viewer, I just wanted to let you know that item number 3 is 6303 Bel Air, not 6301. If you're putting it into Property Viewer, it was a typo on the agenda. Oh. Hey, everybody. Okay, I think Paul's given me permission as the host. I'm sorry for the delay. We're going to move on to item number 3. Hopefully this is going to let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. So item number 3 is a consideration of a request by Richard Gherkin, the adjacent property owner, for the sale of a portion of ground, which is actually designated as Lot 12 on the corner of West Harrison and Bel Air Streets, Square 34, Metairie Park, 7th Municipal District. The lot, it says here that the lot bears the address of 6301 Bel Air Street. Actually, in Property Viewer, you will have to put in 6303. But here it is. It's a small strip, presumably Avery is here on behalf of the applicant. Avery, did you have anything to talk about?
No, we're just kind of family through this process. They're hoping to acquire the lot. They own the property lot that you see here. And so, you know, their driveway actually crossed over this city lot. It's our understanding the lot may have been expropriated at some point by the city. Now that a crossing that never happened. So just trying to them through potentially purchasing the property from the city. And that pretty much covers it. Answer any questions to the extent I know the answers. Thanks.
Thanks, Avery. LaJoyce, is there any infrastructure here?
No, there aren't. Everything is in a street.
Okay. Any questions from any of the other departments?
Nope.
Is there any issue with the driveway crossing or? Louis, you look deep in thought, so I guess I'm asking you.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I don't see anything, I don't see any issue there. At
Well,
West
great.
Harrison.
In that case, I'll roll this along to item number 4 because we're running a little bit behind schedule this afternoon. All right. So, and unfortunately, item number 4 is sort of a complicated one. Do we have anybody from Hano on the call? Anyone from Hano? Anyone from the developer at Columbia Park? Okay, well, so this is a request by Hano for the exchange of 3 areas of right-of-way in Columbia Park that would be given to the city of New Orleans in exchange for 2 portions of ground in the 1st municipal district. So right now I'm showing what the city would be acquiring in the exchange, which is the portion of Jumonville between Senate and Foy, Caton between Jumonville and St. Bernard Ave, and Foy Street between Jumonville and Duplessis. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these street names, as well as a portion of Duplessis between Foy and Milton. So everything here is currently a Hano-owned right-of-way at the moment. They are proposing to rededicate this to the city. And so maybe this is another conversation that kind of has to happen offline with DPW. Tika's got her hand up. Tika? Tika, I can't hear you. Okay, so I'm gonna switch the slide to Tika, is that you?
That's Tracy. Paul is in my office, so he can hear what's going on.
Okay, hi, Paul. So we're looking at, so we're talking about an exchange here. So this is the proposal from Hano is to exchange these rights of way in the 3rd Municipal District, which are shown here, Caton, Jumonville, Foy, and Duplessis, in exchange for some properties that they would like to acquire for their development in the 1st Municipal District. So I'm going to pull that up now. And can everybody see this?
Yeah. Yes.
So the exchange is going to be, so what we would be taking away from the city and putting in the ownership of Hano would be South Miro Street between squares 540 and square 535, as well as South Miro between 539 and 536 to be transferred by the city to Hano and the street dedication revoked. So that's the sort of the artery running right here in the middle of this portion of BW Cooper.
What are those logs? Like with the curves? How it's described. Look like amoeba. Or the dotted line.
Aren't those swales? I mean, those are just different elevations.
Yeah, I think it's an elevation.
Can you hear me now, guys? Sorry.
We can.
Yes, we can.
Not that you're excited. What I was trying to say was part of Jumonville and Foy, and Lewis will have to correct me. I'm pretty sure I worked on the dedication of those 2 sections of street. So I think, back
after 1941, when they're claiming that they acquired it, you think there was a rededication?
I was not born in 1941. Yes, ma'am. So probably about 2015. Somewhere in there. I worked with Lewis on Foy and planting and all of that sort of stuff on that section between Caton and then down and to the right to Foy. Now they've already redeveloped Square 2862, and it seems strange to me that they would have done that without doing the rest of Jumonville.
Well, I am sorry that the developer isn't on the call. They certainly were invited, and we had several pre-meetings before actually putting this in front of PAC. So I can't really answer that question of, you know, what their sequencing is. I guess, you know, we can certainly pin the rededication for further review. Because certainly in terms of the what's an allowable transaction, you know, we certainly have to be well, we can't be receiving something we already have, right? So I will flag that for further review on my end.
Yeah, not to contradict, but I mean, I don't recall them being formally dedicated. Just, you know, off the top of my head, I don't have a memory of that.
So they could have been formed as a part of the major re-subdivision as rights of way, or as private streets.
But they've got whatever. So, but Duplessis has been given, and Lewis, you're aware of that one, right? And Gibson, and the other rest of Caton, and the rest of Foy. It doesn't matter, Jen. You know, you'll check it out.
I mean,
Yeah, no, it does.
wasn't
It
really
certainly
involved with-
does matter. I'll check into it because, you know, if that they're proposing to give us something we've already accepted, then that's not really going to be a workable plan. I think certainly their immediate need on the W. Cooper side is to and I don't know that the subdivision is pending yet, Paul. But
is Rachel here on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
So we have received something, a submission as a subdivision, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's really only regarding the street dedication. Is that right?
As far as I know, that's correct. From my understanding and what I've been told, it's coming through as a quote major subdivision, but only because major subdivision includes dedication of streets. And this is just, the streets already exist. This is a formal dedication, I guess, making them city-owned streets. The subdivision itself has already occurred.
that's for Columbia Park.
Yeah.
Okay. Has anything been filed for BW Cooper?
All I know is that it's not part of the application that I've been assigned. I've only been told that these streets already exist, and that's been confirmed by the Department of Safety and Permits, and also the GIS department.
Okay, it sounds like we've got a few issues for further review by CPC and DPW on this one, as well as myself on what the actual history is. So do we have any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I'll just say the ones in Columbia Park, I mean, those streets were built later, after the main part of Columbia Park, at least some of them. Everyone knows that. But they were kind of built under, I mean, I remember them building it and we were involved, but, you know, there wasn't that formal transfer yet. So that was kind of built in a different phase from the rest of the residential development.
Was it built with city funds?
No, I mean, Hano built them.
Okay.
The last one I think to be built was Foy, last piece of Foy. As far as the BW Cooper stuff, I think they just built those. They built them at all. They were talking about building them. I don't even think they built them yet.
In the pre-meeting that I had with them, it was clear that this was a proposal, not something they'd done yet. And the thought was, we need to get something in return. If there's no funding to buy South Miro, the proposal of Hano is to exchange South Miro for the Columbia Park streets. So happy to let you guys noodle on that some more, and we'll circle back.
We have to.
I'm just gonna quick. I just re-looked at the application that I've been assigned, and what I'm seeing on the screen right now is not part of my application. So that's, I just want to clarify that, because what I just stated was in reference to the Columbia Park survey, but not the other one. So I need to figure out what's going on with that.
They may not have filed anything yet in terms of the BW Cooper. That's totally possible.
Okay.
Then we would probably want to run the re-subdivision along the same timeline as the exchange, if this is to be approved by everyone, including law.
And so are there any utilities in these streets that are proposed for acquisition and dedication?
Not to speak for LaJoyce, but there, I'm going to assume that there are sewer connections because they're all along Duplessis. And since they have properties fronting onto Jumonville, I would assume that there's some sort of water and sewer connections.
Are these ones that Sewage and Water Board isn't currently maintaining and would be taking on maintenance of if we acquired? LaJoyce?
If it's, you're saying currently, I'm not sure about currently maintaining, but if it's acquired by the city, it will be a public street, right?
Yes.
So what's the question? I'm sorry.
I guess I'm just, if you don't know if they're currently private, then in theory, Sewage and Water Board is not maintaining, Hano is, but you would be taking on a maintenance obligation if these were acquired. Would you need any kind of inspection or anything like that?
I would have to probably get back on that one. I think we have had some plans, but I'm not exactly sure which streets we have plans in the office from. So I'm not sure. Louis, did y'all get any like permits or anything on these streets when they were being built?
Not that I recall. I mean, I don't remember any service cut permits or anything for the, for any connections to the existing street.
Okay, and the person that was handling permits, he's not in the office right now. I could have asked him right quick. But I know we did see some plans come in the office, but I'm not exactly sure which streets when they were building this.
We can allow you further review. That's certainly fine.
Okay.
Let's look into that, because this is something that they're interested in seeing if they can move forward with. So I'll be following up with you outside of the meeting.
Okay.
Sounds good. Any other comments on this one or the BW Cooper portion? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to item number 5.
So this portion on Miro, so this is being dedicated to who?
South Miro would be, the dedication would be revoked and would become a private property of Hano.
Okay.
So I think they're looking to build over. So if things need to be removed and relocated, we'd need to know that as well.
Hi, Jen. It's Ava. I know we had some conversations with them. Was their acquisition of the properties in the Miro, was that strictly contingent on them to being able to exchange the properties, I mean, the streets in the Columbia Park, or were they looking on moving with acquiring these, even if we said, no, we weren't going to go ahead with the exchange?
I don't think they have funding for acquiring without an exchange. So it is contingent on the exchange.
Okay, so we wouldn't have to look at it in and of itself. Okay, thank you.
I mean, we do have to look at, is this something that we want to dispose, right?
Okay, okay.
And so did Joyce say if there was any utilities on the disposition area?
I mean, looking at this legend, this does look to be in a utility survey. I'm gonna try to zoom in on the. So it looks like that there is on Clio and here on the lower portion of South Miro. They've got a sewer abandoned in place, water abandoned in place, sewer manhole. I think the answer is yes. LaJoyce?
And so would they need any servitude or no permanent structures?
I would have to further review this one also. So we're talking on the South Miro. Okay. Yes, I spoke to someone. We had some plans in the office for this also, so I'll have to get back with you on this one. But on the portion on those Jumaville and Caton and all those streets, can they give us a since the city will be requiring this, can they submit a plan to show exactly what is being acquired?
Yes, I can ask them to submit.
Okay.
You want a utility survey?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Okay, item number 5. This is a portion of Kerlerick, unconstructed, sort of abandoned. Can see it here on Property Viewer, adjacent to 2275 Bayou Road. Here it's shown on the plat. It's just kind of being this originally, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but originally it cut through the entire block, but now only this tiny portion remains. And I think we have the applicant on the call, or John Cerise on behalf of the applicant. Did you want to talk a little bit about the plans for this location?
Yeah, this is Jonathan. So basically, the adjoining property owner is the Joan Mitchell Center, and they operate an artist in residence center on the property, and they just want to incorporate this lot into their campus. It's a nonprofit corporation that runs the artist in residence center. So that's basically what it'll be used for. And I guess if there's any questions, happy to answer
them. Is that the square map that's up there now? Is that sort of out of date with regards to the lots? Did the Joan Mitchell Foundation do a big re-subdivision?
That's correct. That was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I think that was resubbed. So yeah, I think it's mainly 3 lots of record now, whereas it was obviously many more under that plat that was shown.
Okay. Yeah.
To see it on the property viewer image, it's actually, I think, 2.
Gotcha. So yeah, it'd be a condition of the disposition that you would re-subdivide it into the property this right away.
Correct. I think that's our client's current plans, is to do an additional re-subdivision once this lot is acquired.
So it looks like, okay, so it looks like it was kind of redeveloped already and gated, right?
Yeah, I think that's correct. I think when our client acquired, I think it was 1430 North Rocheblave, there was a structure that was already encroaching onto this lot. And I think that residents had been using this lot as its driveway. I think that if you look at Google Maps, there's a historical image from like 2007 that would show kind of how it was being used by the former owner. And I think when our client acquired it in 2014, it was I think unintentionally included in kind of what they did. So they're just trying to kind of fix that oversight now.
So what would be what's the development intent? What I'm getting at is that we would want to clean up any unused driveways or pavement in that strip if you're not going to use it for vehicular access.
That's correct. And there's
access, you want to keep the gate, that's fine.
Yeah, 100%. So that is correct. That's the intent, is to not have any sort of vehicular access at that point. I think directly adjacent to that, there's a gate. It's actually not where this yellow lot is shown, the city-owned lot. It's towards 1440 on this plat, is where that actually that gate is. So what's in front of this yellow lot? I think there is currently a curb cut and maybe some paving there. So that could be removed. This is not used for access at this location.
Okay, so I mean there is a roll gate directly opposite of Kellerick Street, so that would be removed in your development plan.
No, I think what I was saying, and hold on, let me pull up the Google Maps just to confirm I have it correct.
I mean there's 2 driveways, both look like they're in the Kellerick right away.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. There's a gate on the, I want to say it's a walking gate, kind of nearest the green structure on Google Maps, the former 1430 North Rocheblave. I think that the driving gate is adjacent to that, and you can actually see the roadway going into that. Yeah, I don't think it would be an issue to remove the curb cut or paving on the right there, because I think that's only in front of the walking gate, and that's where this lot that we're discussing now is located, not where the driving gate is located.
Well, I mean I mean, how big is this right of way? Isn't it a 50-foot right of way?
No, no, correct. So again, I guess this kind of requires a little more explanation. Half of the right of way was already included in title that our client acquired back in 2010 or 2011. And that's the half where the driving gate is located. For whatever reason, this small city-owned parcel that we're talking about now, which is located behind the walk-in gate, was not ever, I guess, abandoned or transferred to adjacent property owners historically in the chain of title. So it looks like half of the right of way was included in the chain of title, but the other half was retained by the city for some reason.
That's not what that drawing looks like to me. I mean, it looks like you got, I mean, at least what we're looking at on the screen now, it looks like it's the same right of way as across Rocheblave. And it looks like it's marked out as like 67 feet on that dimension.
I think we determined that maybe it's 67, this entire side of D, and that 25 and 25. I mean,
correct.
Okay, I see.
I think this is a half.
Yeah, that's a half then.
And I think it originally cut across the entire block historically, but over the years these were sold off, and for some reason this one never was.
Right. So that A and B is like a half of the former right of way of Kerlerack. This little parcel we're talking about now would have been the other half, or a part of the other half.
All right. Kind of funny because the other side of Kerlerack is like 50 feet
I'm
wide.
not sure that side is
maybe it's
accurate.
just misdrawn.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not right. Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any objection.
Well, Joyce, is there any abandoned utilities here? Anybody?
No.
Okay. Any other questions from the advisory committee?
We do need the, I mean,
Further
we
review.
shouldn't have, we really shouldn't have the driveway. That's not a vehicular gate right there in front of the place, so. We don't really build concrete parking pads in the city, so. We would want to have that cleaned up, I guess.
I don't know that I can really make that sale
Well, if you can,
proviso.
you can,
Maybe talk about that. I mean,
all right, that's fine. All right, no objection, no objection. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and honestly, again, I'll relay that comment to the client, and I don't think they'd probably have any objection to kind of cleaning it up and making it look a little better anyway. So.
Okay.
okay, great. Thanks, Jonathan. We've got two non-CPC items to get through really quickly before the break. The first is 1300 Aretha Castle Haley. Let me zoom out here because I feel like I'm too close to this. This is a request for servitude of air and ground rights for a canopy and outward swinging doors over the Barone and Thalia Street right-of-way adjacent to Lot 1 and Square 252. Municipal address 1300 Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard. And I apologize, everybody. Ashley Givens couldn't be here this afternoon. And so I'm not 100% familiar with these, but we can see the property line. And we can see that this canopy is part of the Barone Street facing facade. Here's the profile.
On the other side?
There is a mention of, I think there's a second document here. Hold on. So this is the ground floor plan for Thalia.
That is the same property. This is David Harms.
Look, why can't they push the buildings back to put everything
Okay,
on
sorry.
their property? I don't understand.
Well, we've got David Harms from the with the applicant. Thank you, David. Sorry, Ashley couldn't be here today. If you want to go ahead and kind of explain better than I'm doing a job of.
There's also Carl Westerman, the architect, working with David. Well,
and I'm happy to defer to Carl on explanation here. That the piece I was clarifying is 1801 Thalia is kind of what we were using as a working title until we were assigned a municipal address. So I was just confirming that you are looking at the right plans there.
yes, she is.
So that's just the outward swinging doors on Thalia.
So on there is it's the main issue is the canopy on Barone Street with the entrance doors, which is in that image.
Yep.
And then there are three outswinging service doors on Thalia Street.
These two down here.
Yes. And then there's two in that very far left portion, and then there's basically that drive aisle. So there's two there, and then there's one just to the right of it.
DPW, any comments or questions?
The only, I guess, one thing to note is this is a planned development. So we went to we were at the PAC, I would have said about a year ago. Not that that necessarily means anything, but if that reminds anybody of this project.
Yep, and I believe you've been through the DAC as well.
Correct.
Yep, not a lot. You have a you need an ADA ramp on the corner. Both
Yeah,
corners.
we're placing the entire sidewalks on our perimeter, including the ADA ramp at each corner. And then for that entry on Barone, we actually slope up somewhat, which is what you see there.
What's the so is that landscaping like low, or is that sloped up to the sidewalk?
That's sloped up to the sidewalk. The other plans show the grading. I think that's about a foot difference.
It's like a pretty steep slope for landscaping, especially with that catch basin there. Might be better off keeping the landscaping flat and putting some kind of edge protection on that sidewalk.
I'll let Danny know that you have some issues with that. The other thing is they could just leave it flat or use ground cover rather than grass instead of having that slope. Although we've had problems in the past at other locations with very steep slopes.
Yeah, I mean, even with a steep slope, you know, it's a steep thing to have on the side of a sidewalk. You know, you're better off with maybe like a flat sidewalk and then, you know, running like a handrail or something along there for the edge protection. You know what I mean? Sounds like you're going to be you're going to be like 1 in 4 there with the landscaping, so that's pretty steep, or maybe even 1 in 3. Then where you have like I said, where you have that catch basin there, you know, now you're only got a foot or something to work with. You can't build, you know, you can't landscape on top of the catch basin, obviously. So
No, but
kinda
at that point, our differential is like 3 inches.
Oh, really?
Right, because we're sloping down to that area. Well, I might be overstating it.
If you're not that high and you think you can achieve it, I mean, I don't really have a problem. You know?
Trying to
think
do
you
my
got it.
decimal fractions, but we are. So we're about 14 inches at the entry, and then of course it tapers down to 0. So I guess that's probably about, like you said, 4 to 5 inches. And maybe we build a curve around the back of the catch basin if we don't keep everything flat.
Okay. All right.
I mean, Louis, do you need further review or are you good with this in terms of the canopy?
Yeah, I think we're good in terms of the obstructions. You know, when you get the you know, when you go to redo the sidewalk, get a sidewalk permit from us, and we can hammer out anything else then.
Okay, I know, you know, just in terms of the permit process, we're in for permit, and I know that you guys are looking at the curb cuts and stuff like that. So I don't know if that comes in at this point.
Yeah, get a sidewalk permit too, just to cover your bases. But we will review it during that building permit phase too. So you should have your answers by then. Don't forget to get your sidewalk permit when you do construction.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, gentlemen, since that's a non-CPC item, you know, we're not going to be voting on it later. So I just wanted to let you know that you don't need to stay on the line for that. You'll be hearing from Ashley concerning the requirements for documents you need to complete going forward.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank
Yep,
you.
thank you.
Rolling right along. Hope everybody can see this. This is the second non-CPC item, which is a request for a lease. Well, when we put it on the agenda, it was for an outward swinging gate, but my understanding is they are willing to modify that to be an inward swinging gate, but they are going to be fencing in a portion of the Calliope Street right of way, which is actually an unconstructed portion of Calliope. And I know Kai, you had looked at this before with myself and Alan.
Yeah.
Do you have any other comments?
I believe Alan, I can just speak for what he was saying in that meeting. that it wasn't the gate that was the problem. It's just the leasing agreement could get hairy. And also it's a street. I believe were they initially looking for the sale of this land and now they've changed it.
Hello.
Hi. Did you
Hi.
want to talk about this? Are you with Voice
Yeah.
of the Experienced? Okay, go
My name's
ahead.
Jeffrey Shello, and I'm representing the Voice of Experience. We submitted to Ashley an updated plan, and basically the car gate does go in, and what we're looking for, at least a servitude, is on the area that's adjacent to the Calliope Street right away.
I don't know if that's fine where I'm not looking for.
I can share my screen with you with that updated plan. It's okay, so you guys have disabled that. Okay.
Yeah. We
Okay.
might be able to, but I know one of the issues that you wanted to get to, I guess, was that there are currently existing encroachments from other adjacent property owners.
Right.
This is sort of like a quandary for us. This is a bit of a quandary because, we've got multiple illegal obstructions. And obviously that's not fair to any of the adjacent owners. And I understand you guys are proposing to, go about this above board and lease the fenced in area for the gate and the additional parking from the city. Big picture, like the better planning perspective from the city side would be to kind of clear up everything and have one continuous property there. But that's not really realistic given what's going on currently. So we wanted to put you on this agenda so that we could talk with the relevant departments about whether we think that leasing any portion or part of this is appropriate. I understand what the issue is, and it's kind of like hard for us to solve when there's multiple obstructions, yet also a need for being able to access the property. Paul, is that you? Did you want to chime in? Or Larry?
Me?
Why? Why is it taking so long? This makes no sense.
Hi,
Oh my God,
Stephen.
what's going on?
I'm hearing voices now.
I have no idea why Larry or Steven is on, if that's even true.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a good use of anyone's time. Okay.
Steven, can you hear me?
Okay. Man,
They might have
this
to
is
mute.
why PAC.
Steven.
Yeah, we might have to mute him.
I did mute him. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think our computers have poltergeist or something.
Yeah.
Been really having problems today, guys. I'm sorry. Okay.
I am too.
Let's go back to the problem back here on Calliope and Palm unconstructed.
Jennifer, could I
Kai-
share?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Could I share with you some overhead views of it, and it might clear up better what's happening?
Yeah, I know you did send me those. I can probably pull them up. I didn't set this parameters for this meeting. I'm not normally the administrator, but I did get the ones that were emailed to me yesterday, and I can pull those up if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, and I sent some to
Monica, yeah.
yeah, and Ms. Givens.
Sorry,
That house, that shouldn't be there at all.
so there's this new fence here that
Yeah,
popped up overnight.
yeah, and then the street is actually see where this long fence is that goes about 190 feet. That is actually Calliope Street. And then there's a fence here, and then this house back here is also blocking the street. And then there's a metal gate further up near Audubon where it's blocked again. And this section back here where you see the gravel, I think that used to be an old railroad servitude. And so Calliope Street right now is being blocked by those cars you see in that yard and the house and the other gate. So what we're trying to do is to enclose this 190-foot strip and put a gate to prevent people from coming on our property, because we've had some vandalism and graffiti and things like that. And do some improvements to drainage, because we have a lot of flooding in that area because there are no utilities going on to this section of property.
Did you send her this?
No, she doesn't have it.
Well, the other one with the outward swinging gate, hold on, I'm still looking for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the
Or
gate.
the inward swinging gate, correct.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
do
And then
prefer
also,
that, but I guess the issue kind of comes back to me for DPW. This is there's no plan for further development, correct?
No.
Kai, could you just
No.
repeat what you said earlier?
Yeah, there's no plan for the development for the street.
And so our question is just whether it's appropriate to lease it out piecemeal. But you wouldn't, do you have a specific objection to it, or?
Not specifically, Lewis, could you? Is Lewis there? I guess Lewis.
Yes.
Okay. I think he's reviewing it. No. Lewis, let me repeat. Did you have any objection with possibly leasing this out, given the circumstances? There was concern from Alan of adjacent property owners. Are you the, I guess, property owner of the entire adjacent locations?
They're not, they're the adjacent owner of 4930.
Okay. Not the one right next to it.
Okay, so this is the old, I mean, this is like the old railroad right away, right?
Yeah.
That we're talking about.
Yes. Well, it's kind of all wonky, the street grid in that area as well.
Yeah.
Paul, do you have any thoughts?
Washington, Calliope. Oh, yeah.
Paul Kramer?
Paul Kramer, yes.
Being that this is a lease, I don't have many thoughts about it.
Okay.
So the area
It just seems strange to me to lease something that forces it. it seems like you should have a solution for all of the property owners at the same time.
9:30.
But that's my opinion.
I don't disagree with you, Tika. I don't know realistically how to solve that number of problems. But maybe that's a conversation that we can continue to have with the mayor's office.
Is there an avenue with seeking permits to, you know, I guess clear that up? You know, their issue. I think is that the conversation gonna happen?
Sorry, Kai, I was having trouble hearing you. Could you say that again?
Sorry, I was just exploring maybe an avenue with safety and permits. It seems like a conversation, yeah, with the mayor or another department. Because as it is, you know, there's other properties right there that might need to access it. So I guess that would be the objection. If it were just one person's property, then we could talk about that.
I mean, it looks like the person on the other side of Calliope already has their half of Calliope, right?
Yeah, the other property that would access that area, they've put fences up on their end already. There was a fence that was knocked down during the storm, and they've put up a new fence. And they have equipment and a metal gate that's blocking that area, and to protect their section of the property. And what we want to do is just be able to accomplish the same thing, protecting our section of the property going in. So they have access if they open their gates to their portion of the property. And we just want to have access to, well, not access, we just want to be able to protect ours and improve the drainage in that area in the back.
Right. I'm just saying, it seems like they have already,
right.
They're occupying a piece of Calliope as well, right?
Correct.
Is that 7,000 Washington? I guess my concern is for 7,000 Washington. I see 7,010 has a gate, but what about that area? Let me see. I'm looking at your email with the Skyview. Is that your property or is that theirs? Oh, that's them. With the sidewalk there.
With the sidewalk.
I see like a tin kind of canopy with a sidewalk. That's I guess right next to these deposits of grain.
This little square here, if you move your cursor to the left a little, or that.
This one, yeah.
That's not owned by that property. That's owned by the property that's all the way to the left.
Okay.
And they have a huge parking lot off to the left, and they're the ones who put up the gates.
Oh, okay.
So they've blocked their access to that. And I've spoken to them, and they said they had no plans for it for 3 years. See, that's their property.
So they don't need
and
access.
They put up a fence there and a fence here.
Oh, okay.
Jeffrey, would it be possible maybe to get a letter from them to that effect?
We've already spoken to them, and they're saying that they want to be able to access that space behind our property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, even though they put up a fence that blocks it from Audubon, they put up a fence on their property. Said, "Oh, we don't want to do that. We want to come through the back of your property."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of in a difficult spot in terms of enforcing against them, right? The other adjacent owners. We don't really have a good enforcement mechanism for that. So that's kind of going to have to be a separate conversation. But in terms of if we were going to agree to do this lease, we would certainly need to have some consensus among the adjoining, among all of the owners adjoining the public area. Because without that, you know, we're devaluing their property, we're restricting the access to their property, and they're going to complain. So we need to figure out a path where everybody's satisfied. So maybe this meeting isn't the place to do it.
But now they have fences up, and I mean, can we request that their fences be torn down that are on that public right of way?
Yes, but well, the enforcement
think what he's
mechanism for
saying-
that, yeah. Go ahead.
It seems like they have access to that area.
And they've blocked it.
It's just blocked by their own fence. Like their property is adjacent to that area, and that area is not being requested to be leased.
Right.
No.
So, you know, we're with what we were doing with our gate and the lease of that, we would not restrict their access if they were coming through their side of Calliope to, I mean, our access wouldn't have anything to do with their access to their property.
Particularly when they put the fence up, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. LaJoyce, is there any infrastructure in that portion of Calliope that's unconstructed?
Stops right here. Yeah, electrical stops right here, and there's no, I mean, right here, and there's no sewer.
Okay, I guess LaJoyce isn't going to answer. Tika, did you have something else to say?
No, TK.
The lease?
Yes.
Oh, we're still on the lease. Okay. No, I didn't have anything else.
LaJoyce, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, have you had an opportunity to look at the utilities in Calliope unconstructed, or if there are any? Or is that just old remnant right away? We don't have anything under there?
I had a map pull up, but I need to take a look at it again because I am showing the water, but I didn't think there were anything in there.
Jennifer?
Yeah.
The utilities for the building electrical, it stops right at the corner of Calliope and Thalia, and the water for the building comes in from the Washington Avenue. And there's no sewer or underground services in that section. Because several years ago, this whole section was fenced off as part of the Singer track. And then when they removed that railroad spur, I think they opened up a gate there, and that's what leads into our property. But there was never any sewer, water, or electrical.
Okay, well, that's good. I thought that, so LaJoyce, you're seeing something different?
I didn't see any utilities at first, but taking a look at it right now. So just put it on the further review by Sewage and Water Board.
Okay, I'll follow up with you on that.
Okay.
So, Jeffrey, since this is a non-CPC item, it's not going to be voted on after the public comment break. But why don't you circle back with me directly and we'll try to keep this moving forward.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I'll contact you and update you with all the information we have.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry you were so late on the agenda and waited so long. apologize for all of our technical difficulties and the length of the agenda today. It's not a reflection of the importance of your matter. We certainly want to try to figure out a path forward for that entire area.
Gotcha.
Okay, so everybody, we're gonna get ready to take the 5-minute public comment break. Since we're running so late, is there any issue with doing a 2-minute break, Paul?
No. No.
Okay, everybody, we're going to break for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Hi, welcome back. 2 minutes is up.
Hello, welcome back.
Okay, Paul, do we have any public comments?
He went to his office to check.
Oh, okay, so we're waiting for him to get back.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tracy. You know, Steven's still in the meeting mysteriously. I bet if I took him off mute, we'd hear his whole conversation.
Let's not.
Did you hear that the first time around?
Oh, a little bit.
I thought I'd muted myself. Okay.
Oh, you are listening.
Okay, trying to pay attention.
Oh, I didn't know you were in attendance today. How are you doing?
I got here at 4, so I missed most of it.
Well, for a minute we heard your phone conversation, but I forced muted you.
Okay, that's what I figured. Thanks.
both of these houses, both of them straddling the property line. Both.
We're waiting for you to tell them if there are any comments.
So Jen,
Yes.
we're gonna have to assume that there were no public comments because I'm not able to get to them. So if there are any, if I'm able to get to them in the future, we will have to adopt them at the next meeting.
No problem.
So let's go ahead with the voting then.
I did just get an email from LaJoyce, wanting to ask a question about 4930 Washington. No, the answer is no. The gate will be in the right of way, but it will not obstruct it entirely.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Yeah, the gate will not be in the right of way at all. When it opens, it will open into the property. And right now there's a turn right there where the telephone pole is. And we're going to be behind that telephone pole. So it won't interfere with the street at all.
I was asking if is it going to be in the street or is it just along the property line? Is that around South Telemachus? Am I looking at the right place?
Yeah.
No, it's Calliope.
Well,
Yeah, it's-
Calliope and South Telemachus,
Yeah,
what the stop
Okay.
sign is.
exactly. They meet right at that intersection.
So is it going to be in line with the one that goes through? It's not the gate, like, see where there's a gating, like, that goes through the roadway or whatever? That's,
Okay, there's a gate. Yeah, right. Where Calliope Street goes straight.
yes.
The electric company has a gate right there. Our gate would be to the left of that or towards Washington Avenue, away from the street and away from that intersection completely.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Even if it opened out into the street, it wouldn't go fully into the intersection.
Okay. So it's not in the right of way of Calliope.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, I don't have any comments because the water line is in Calliope. So I don't have any objections.
Okay. Yeah, Jeffrey, I'm a little bit lost then because on the other survey that we saw that the fence was in the right of way. Is the fence on the property line?
It's one half of it is on the property line. The other half is on an existing fence that is on the Calliope Street right away.
So then the gate is in the Calliope right of way.
Well, if you, not really. Well, yeah, it is. I'm sorry. One half of the gate is on the Calliope right of way where there's already an existing fence that blocks the street from going through.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna need to.
And I've got an aerial view that could give you a better look at it if I could show that to you.
Yeah, I'd like the aerial view.
Could you email it to me? Because I can't enable the sharing on this because it's live on YouTube.
Yeah. And that's Jennifer at NOLA.gov.
Jennifer.Kretschmann. Yeah.
Okay. I'll send it over to you now.
If they see it, it kind of gives them a better
Right.
sense of that's by electrical company.
Okay, let's see. Let me mute this temporarily.
Okay, well, Jeffrey's getting ready to email me that on the non-CPC item. Let's go ahead and vote on item number 1.
We want to vote whether it should be a sale or lease.
No, I want to yay or nay a sale. And so I don't actually want to make the motion.
I'll make the motion then.
Okay,
I say no objection, subject to further review by City Planning Commission, Real Estate and Records, Sewage and Water Board, Department of Public Works.
I'll second.
Real Estate and Records objects for the reasons that DPW has raised.
And what is the motion again? I'm sorry.
No objection, subject to further review by City Planning Commission, Sewage and Water Board, Real Estate and Records, and DPW.
Okay,
And then
but we didn't say whether it's going to be the Sewage and Water Board, where is this, it's going to be a sale or a lease?
I think you said you would object to a sale, LaJoyce, right?
Well, we would need a servitude.
The only thing we need to vote on is a sale, and I'm objecting on behalf of Real Estate and Records. So
DPW seconds
What's your reason, Jennifer?
that I think the better long-term path is to coordinate this with the JUA and DOTD. That's a use agreement. It's not a sale. It will allow us to retain control over the area in the event that access is needed to the utilities and or to repair the overpass.
Well, would you rather withdraw the item from the agenda?
If you think that's more appropriate, I will.
Well, I think that it might be more appropriate than us going on record, perhaps opposing one another.
Okay, motion to withdraw item
And
number 1.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Second, the withdrawal of your motion, and I move to withdraw.
Tracy, you agree?
Second to withdraw.
Okay, item number 1 is withdrawn from the voting matters. Number 2, I move to withdraw based on the conversation that we had earlier today about Calypsa. Motion to withdraw.
Seconded.
Okay.
Should we all vote in favor of withdrawing DPW?
Yes.
HC,
Agree.
Motion to withdraw.
Yes.
CPC,
Agree.
Parks and Parkways.
Agree.
Okay, that number 2 is withdrawn. Item number 3, the Hano exchange. I would like to present a motion of no objection, subject to further review of the exchange by Sewage and Water Board, DPW, City Planning Commission, and Real Estate and Records.
DPW seconds.
Jen, could you add me, Jen, just because
I
if we're
can. And
Thank
Parks and Parkways, yes. I have.
Can you restate the departments again, please?
I have a On item number 3, the Hano exchange for involving Columbia Park and BW Cooper, I have a motion of no objection, subject to further review by Sewage and Water Board, DPW, City Planning, Real Estate, and Parks and Parkways, and seconded by DPW.
Did you skip
All
one?
In item 2?
No, 3.
No, this is 3.
No,
No, oh,
the housing, Hano is 4.
with Bel Air.
Bel Air?
That's what I get for rushing. I'm sorry. This is item number 4. I go back to number 3, if that's all right with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so item number 4, motion of no objection, subject to further review by Sewage and Water Board, DPW, CPC, Real Estate, and Parks. Seconded by DPW. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. I'm returning to item number 3, which is the request by Richard Gierkin for lot 12, square 31, Metairie Park, 7th Municipal District, municipal address of 6303 Bel Air Street. I'm presenting a motion of no objection, subject to further review by Real Estate and Records and CPC.
Second.
Seconded by HDLC. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion of no objection on item number 3 carries. Lastly, number 5, which was the portion of North Rocheblave unconstructed, a request by the Joan Mitchell Foundation. I'm going to present a motion of no objection, subject to further review by CPC, DPW, and Real Estate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion of no objection on item number 5 carries. Let's go back to Jeffrey and the non-CPC item. Just really quickly, everyone. He's just emailed me those overhead shots of the issue on Calliope, and I'm opening them. Okay, Jeffrey, tell us what we're looking at here in terms of the water.
Yeah, this is what we're trying to mitigate by putting the gate there. We're trying to clean up the drainage, and you can see the telephone pole there to the left.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the gate will be, and it will end at this metal pole, which they have gated on the right. And those gates will flop in away from the street. There's some other photos. If you go to, you can see a better aerial view of it. Yeah, these are all the drainage issues. It should have been in that first email.
I just have 2 comments. So I'm not sure how the gate would help drainage, but that gate would still be in the Calliope right of way. It is, I guess an unconstructed street, but it is still within the right of way. So I guess there's maybe some confusion there, but it is within the right of way.
Yeah. And it won't obstruct any traffic, I should say. But you're right, it is on, if Calliope did continue, it would be in the right of way, but it won't obstruct any traffic. You can see from the two green lines I have there, that's the area of the right of way where we want to put the gate, and right at our building here on the corner. And then the Calliope Street, as you can see on the red line, is where Calliope goes straight through. And right where this turn is, let's see, okay, there we are, the shaded area on our bottom right corner there. That's where the turn is. And you see these other guys, the electrical company has it gated. The bakery guys have it gated over here on the right top. And if you can see it, you actually have to take a 22-degree turn off the street to get into the area behind our property. And that's where the gate would be, and it would flop against the electrical company's power guys, and it would flop against the bakery's area. Yeah, here we go. And see, their fence is along that 132 and 60-foot boundary. And over here, you can see the car gates would flop in. The street, Calliope, which is at the top here, would not be affected. The gate wouldn't flop into that. But you're right, the right of way for Calliope Street and this old railroad servitude is really where we're putting the gate. So it wouldn't affect any traffic or anybody out on the street.
Yeah. So I guess there's a concern as if their fences goes into the right of way of at Paper Street. And, I guess that would be addressed by, that's one thing to address. And then the second thing is if you want to get there, you would have to have a lease. And I guess that's the reason that we're going through this.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Kai.
Okay.
That last one you had up gave you a good idea that the area that we're looking at leasing, and the end of that strip is where they've fenced off access to their little cubby. But if they unfence it, they can access it there without a problem.
Okay. I understand what the problem is, and I'm trying to figure out a path forward. That's a non-voting item, so that's I guess we voted on the 5 voting items. Jeffrey, I'll be in touch with you to try to see what we can do on the administrative side to resolve the issue or move forward with the lease. So anybody else have any comments or questions?
I'm sorry, I had a quick one on item number 4. I know we said with real estate and parks, we were checking to see if Drummondville and the streets that were being donated are being given to the city from Hano, just double checking that they were Hano streets, they were actually Hano streets. Also, I remember that Sewage and Water Board wanted a utility survey from Columbia Park. What were the other things that we were going to? I know there was a concern from DPW. Were there other things that I think Ms. Joyce may have stated she wanted something from the BW Cooper project as well?
Yeah, we're gonna need to get utility surveys.
Both have utility surveys? Okay. And is there something else I should be trying to attain for that? Or were those the 3 major things, the 2 utility surveys and just verification that the streets were actually owned by Hano?
On the BW Cooper one, I think LaJoyce said she just needed to look at it further because there was some utilities marked on the survey already.
Mhm. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Tatiana, I'm gonna follow up with you guys to talk about the lease path.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Is there any chance of we can come back again, or is that a final no on the sale?
It was withdrawn, so it could come back.
Okay. All right, well, looking forward to talking to you about the other options. Thank you.
Thank you. Just really quickly, everybody on the city side that's on the call, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you're going to be getting an email from me about possibly having a separate meeting on encroachments only monthly as part of a committee established by a recent ordinance.
Fun.
Sounds good.
Well, maybe it'll make these meetings a little less long if we can split it up.
Yeah.
Because this is too long, I think we all agree. Okie doke. Well, everybody have a good afternoon.
Bye, you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Good, Jennifer.
Bye.